Welcome to Andrea Urbinati, Director of the Center of Technological Innovation and Circular Economy at the LIUC Business School, and he will talk us about the role of digital technologies in the business transition to the circular economy. Thanks for being here. 12 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me thank Francesco for the organization of the event and for inviting me to say this speech. This is a more conceptual and theoretical presentation. I will leave indeed the practical example to Francesco next, after my speech. Just to tell you what with our research activity that we conduct in university and with several Italian and foreign colleagues regarding the digitalization for the circular economy transition, and especially for the design of circular business model. As you can get, there are three main perspectives usually of analysis of circular economy, and my focus will be on the micro level, okay? So especially with my research activity, I'm particularly involved to understand the behaviors of companies, okay, in implementing circularity. Why it is important? Because designing a business model according to circular economy principle means to find new way of creating, transferring, and capturing value. Okay, usually value is circular product or a circular service, and companies are called to implement, and especially the top management team to implement actions in the business model dimensions. And I mean, the question is, digital technologies can help companies in, can support companies in this design process, okay, of their business model towards circularity. Of course, there are a lot of digital technologies. All of us know most of them, okay. This is a framework especially that comes from Industry 4.0, but there are many other technologies, the blockchain, cyber physical system, and et cetera, and we know that they already have some implication for companies and industry, okay? For example, in terms of productivity, in terms of motivation of employees, and especially young employees, of course, and some evidences that come from the production processes, production activity, okay? So, for example, the reduction of the effects of production, or the reduce of the time to market for launching new products and services, okay? What are this implication in the circular economy fields? Of course, in scientific research, there is a growing attention into the role of digitalization into circular economy topics, and especially in the last 5-6 years. So very, very recent research. And main topic, most important one, is the relationship between digitalization and circular business model design, okay? What are the main open areas still that we are searching for? We are in search for answering, okay? Three main aspects, of course, according to my perspective, okay? The first one is, what are the functionalities that can be exploited, the functionalities that characterize digital technologies that can be exploited for supporting the transition of companies. The second one is, which are the opportunities, okay, that digital technologies offer for companies as well. The third one is related to the challenges, okay? As for the functionalities, here you have some examples, okay? The idea of the functionalities of digital technologies is to understand which specific functions, okay, allow to achieve specific circular economy outcomes, okay? And here I reported just some examples, okay, of technologies, and especially, for example, the IoT. It allows to monitor, analyze the product life cycle of products. And this, of course, has an interesting implication as a circular economy outcome, because one of the main principles of circular economy is to extend as much as we can the product life cycle, okay? So the idea for each technology, when we talk about functionality, is to understand which functionality can support specific circular economy outcomes. The second one, the second area, is related to which role digital technologies can play for the design of circular business model, okay? And this is an interesting, I mean, maybe most difficult area to explore, because a circular business model, coming back to my definition before, I would say, can be conceptualized according to three main dimensions, okay? How companies create a circular products or services, how these circular products or services are transferred to the client, and how companies are able to capture the value, how companies are able to generate money from these products and services, okay? Within each dimension, specific practices can be implemented. For example, design for is a practice that, of course, is implemented within the boundary of the companies, and it allows to create value, okay? The platforms are a tool or a lever that can allow to transfer the value to the client. There are new ways in a circular economy field that can allow companies to generate money, product service system, pay-per-use, pay-per-performance, and et cetera, okay? And what we are trying to do, and what, of course, the scientific community is trying to do, is to explore if digital technologies can act really as enablers, okay, of this, of the implementation of these practices for the design of circular business model. And this is, of course, something difficult, okay? And more difficult is to find the fit between the functionalities and the practices that needs to be implemented. So the third open area that is required to be explored in more detail is this relationship, okay? And especially because each company has its peculiar characteristics, of course, the sector of activity, the dimension, the relationship with the stakeholders, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, all of this discussion can allow us to pose a question. Are we moving towards a digital circular economy? Of course, I do not have an answer for this question, but for sure, what we know is that if we want to scale up circular economy worldwide, there is a need to digitalize circular operations. This is maybe the main point, I think. So digital technologies and circular economies, in the future, will move together, have to be considered, together and move into the same direction. A very final slide, some reflections, especially for companies, but we have seen yesterday and today a lot of examples of companies that have already started to define their strategies and the competitive positioning into the market according to a circular economy strategy. And this is a very important aspect, okay? So, and one idea here is that when studying the relationship between digital technologies and circular economy, companies are asked to define a circular economy strategy, to identify circular economy targets, and to search for the best set of technologies that can allow to achieve this target, okay? The second point is related to the fact that, of course, there is a matter of monitoring continuously the life cycle of the business model. We are usually, we used to think to the monitor of the product life cycle, okay? But we have also to change, I mean, sometimes the level of analysis, okay? So in implementing digitalization for circular business model, we have to think to up the level of analysis, okay? And to think about the life cycle of the business model, okay? In order that the circular business model will be sustainable over time, okay? The third point is related to the fact that implementing digitalization for circular business model implies the involvement of key stakeholders, okay? So I started with the micro level of analysis, but there are also the meso level. There is also the macro level, okay? So it is a good, I mean, to start with a focus on a company, okay? But the company is part of a supply chain. The supply chain is a part, a more greater area, the region or the nation, okay? So these were my last 3 points, and let's open for a more digital circular economy.
Thanks a lot, Andrea. This is really visionario. I have a question. Since you are here, I would like to tell you. In your opinion, companies in general are ready to approach this change?
I mean, there are, you know, there is also a matter of resources, okay? Of, for example, financial resources that can allow, that of course can allow companies, especially the small, medium enterprises, to move forward, okay? So there are some companies that are ready for both for the mindset and for the financial resources that they have, okay? There are also companies, especially the small, medium one, that although they could be ready, sometimes they do not have the resources necessary for doing the transition. And I especially look this in the territory of Castellanza, where we have most small, medium enterprises, okay? So for this reason, I would say that shifting the focus from the micro level to the meso level or the macro level, and try to think into more ecosystem level. Of course, it could be, I mean, yeah, something that could help in doing this transition. But coming back to your initial point, this was more, yeah, a visionary presentation